You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
What's cracking, people? Y'all ready? Let's go. This beat make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. Cunt.
Good evening, my fellow sexual subjects. You are listening to a broadcast of the CuntCast podcast, a conversation with me, a classically characterized cunt, carefully crafted with cognizant courage to champion conscientious consummation. So I am reporting from Gilead. How are you? And I am here with my co-host, Mr. Aaron Ram Freeman. Everything is crashing around us. How are you?
I mean, we're overdue. You remember there used to be reports of the cyclone in Coney Island, and there were reports of like people at the bottom of the roller coaster would note that there were nails coming out of it was like the wood was warped and the nails were coming out of the actual bottom of the roller coaster structure.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we've been. There are a handful of people who are absolutely right when warning us about the coming hellscape. And yeah, I guess they are free to say I told you so, but this isn't.
Kind of feel like it's a jerk move at this point.
I mean, what else are you going to do? Everyone was being a jerk to the people warning us about the smoke. So the responses to the people warning us about smoke and warped wood and nails coming out and creaks here and weird sounds there and strange delays here and this taking a long time to process there. All the warnings for all the things were happening for the past, I guess I could say decade, because there are things that you were talking about since I've known you that are completely true now. But in the moment, you were getting absolutely shouted down over it.
Yeah, I was an alarmist.
Right. That was a term yes, the term air quotes alarmist, yes. Which
scaremongering.
Right. Which always, now it's always begged the question, well, what do you propose? And no one ever had an answer. It's like, oh, you just chilling. So then continue to chill. That's the thing about labeling someone an alarmist, telling someone they need to calm down, is you can ignore them. Let them rally around. You stay on that moon pod and you keep playing Street Fighter. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. The idea that we yell at the people concerned about safety was concerning years ago, and it's now like reached a peak where now as a society we have to question whether we our concerns about safety are of value. You know what I mean?
At this point, it's not even like the people who were saying the cyclone had nails. It's like the beginning of every Final Destination movie where somebody's like, I've had this premonition. This is definitely going to happen. Everybody get off the plane. And everybody's like, no. And then the plane blows up. And then everybody's like, who could have seen that coming? That's how I feel like the human race is. Because we've seen empires fall. We did nothing different. And now we're shocked that everything's going to shit. When we were given several examples throughout history of exactly how it's going to go down. And everybody's like, but like, not us.
Right.
Yeah. I like to remind people that always say, oh, you're being such an alarmist or naysayer. You're not looking at all the progress. It's like, no, I am looking at the progress. And I also know that progress we haven't had a lot of it for long. Like a lot of these things that we think are set in stone are not.
No.
Interracial marriage has only been legal in every state in this country since 1967. It was only illegal to rape your wife in every state in this country 1983
Yes.
was when that they decided. Actually, no, not 1983, 1989. I think Louisiana was like a straggler for that one. Fact check me on that. But um, like a lot of our set in stone rights you think you have are pretty fucking new. And if you don't think that a progressive society can't go to shit in your lifetime, ask people that were alive in Afghanistan in 1967. It was pretty progressive back then. They're still alive, and Afghanistan is Afghanistan right now. So
Right.
it can go bad, is all I'm saying. And I wish people would like really make that a real option.
So I think the discussion needs to note that time is a thing, and I think humans don't process time well. I realize this now. I used to think it was just kids. When you talk to kids, a 15-year-old will think that being 40 years old. But a 40-year-old will not realize how short of a period of time being 40 is, or 40 years is. And lots of things our grandparents remember. A lot of things that we consider old, things that we consider things that have with enough time between it for people that have gotten over, air quotes. That's not true. Our parents were alive for this stuff. 40 years is not a long time. 40 years is very recent. If you are 40 years old, you have not been alive a long time. It feels long because living is hard.
Yeah, like people don't like to think that um, the first generation of women that could get credit cards without a man, they're not retirement age.
Right.
Like that ended in like the mid
It's
70s.
1975, I believe.
Yeah, like it wasn't that long ago. So when people go like, well, I mean, the Supreme Court decided Roe v. Wade, so it's a done deal. Like, no, it's
No,
fucking not.
no freedom is set in stone, especially here in America, where rules change depending upon who is playing.
Yeah.
So no freedom is set in stone. All freedoms should be defended with all of our energy for as long as we live forever. At least until the robots come and start, weeding people out, which, please, robots, if you can hear us, please just.
Yeah, until Jeff Bezos puts the capitalism chip in our brain so we could order things from Amazon faster, and then we just transcend humanity, and it's just the death of the soul and art and everything that makes us human. Yeah, we're just going to continue to suck. But I feel, as much as I say that, I don't feel like it's a time for nihilism. I'm so happy that people are just saying we got to fight because
I mean, well,
if
it's
you've been living under a rock, Texas just pretty much banned abortion. If you're banning abortions at 6 weeks, you don't know you're pregnant at 6 weeks. I say this as somebody who was pregnant once. I didn't fucking know that shit until I was like 10 weeks.
right.
And you won't know because when they say 6 weeks, it's not 6 weeks until you find out you're pregnant. It's 6 weeks since your last missed period. So most people, if you have a longer cycle, you don't know that you've quote unquote missed a period.
Right.
So you'd have no reason to take a test. And some pregnancy tests can't even detect that you're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Yep.
Fun fact. By fun, I mean existentially horrific. But thinking that, well, it's just Texas and I don't live in Texas, like, no. We're in a states' rights country, And if one state gets away with it, other states are going to follow.
Yep.
And the thing is, it's not, there's going to be a certain class of women in this country that will never have to worry about abortion access because if they need it, they will definitely be able to have it. But everybody else is going to be stuck.
Yes.
It's,
For the record, being in Texas, they allowed the sale of alcohol on Sundays, so it was a trade off. You
you
wouldn't
know,
you
it is weird coming from Jersey where we had all those blue laws and like I couldn't get stockings on Sunday or liquor on Sunday.
right.
But if you go to South Jersey, you can get a shotgun.
Right. I feel like we don't. Just humanity is. We always have to fight because the people who how do I put this? It's those less concerned with human rights have a lot more energy to fight human rights because we just aren't. When you are concerned with human rights and progress, you tend to be moving on to bigger and better things. But what if you're not? Like, what if your whole life can be comfortably dedicated to denying reproductive rights? Think about that. Like, it's one of those things where it's weird to really think about that when we do something, when we make a move, when we legalize gay marriage, for example, we want to move on to something else. But imagine if your whole life could be dedicated to making gay marriage illegal again. Imagine that. 80 years.
Yeah.
60 good years of your life just trying to remove a single right, a single thing we fought for. So that's kind of why we have to always fight, and that's why it's tiring. And also it's always hard for us to even process, which is why we kind of talk about progress in such a way we're like, oh, well, we've done this, so we're done with worrying about it. Is because you wouldn't think that somebody right behind you will just be like Cobra Commander and just stare at it for 50 years since you've done it. But no, the person behind you that doesn't want you to have this right, doesn't want you to have this freedom is gonna stare at it. They've been refining arguments against abortion rights since Roe v. Wade. Just the same set of people just staring at it. So yeah, it's like cartoon villainy. It's like cartoon villains just all day. Just
And the worst part is, I think in this country, because it is found on a lot of Puritan Christian fundamentalism. Uh, we're taught that we can't call them evil because it's like, well, it's their faith, which is kind of like, well, it's my opinion. It's like, well, your opinion and your faith can suck.
I bet it's
That's
evil.
that's just reality.
If your belief system is removing someone else's ability to flexibility, living flexibility, it's evil. Because
But
objectively,
we're not allowed to say that.
it is. You objectively should not be concerned about what other people are doing to this degree. As a person who, like, I always tell folks, my liberalism is born from apathy. I just don't care. I am a black dude. So there are so many other people that need the ability to live that aren't black dudes that I cannot form an opinion on them because I don't know them and I don't understand. Primarily, since I was a young man in high school, people would tell me about these things. I went to a Irish Catholic high school, and there were so many opinions
Yikes,
about
bless.
people. Right, there were so many opinions about people that I was like, this school is just full of white dicks. Why do you all care about these people? Why do you care? You just have yourself, white boys, a cascading sea of white boys. Worry about yourselves. The idea that we are in somebody else's business
No,
is patently
but
absurd.
I feel like it's quintessentially American that white men feel like worrying about everybody else is their business.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. When you say if you were to say white people have no culture, white people will get up in arms. But whiteness has just been invading everyone's business globally. And that's it. That's the trait. That's it. It's just you have an opinion. White people have an opinion about everyone else but white folks. And then if you call them white, they get all out of sorts because that's how little introspection is done. That's how little introspection whiteness provides. Your whole business is being in other people's business, and it's just hard. If that is what you believe in, if that is your ministry, it is inherently evil, whether it's religion or not. It's inherently evil. Telling somebody else why they can't do a thing, they can't live their life to the fullest extent as somebody if you're denying someone's rights, limiting their ability to live that they fought for, yeah, it's evil. It doesn't matter whether it's because of God or whatever. Doesn't matter. Like I said, you can either say Jesus was a homie, as per the Bible, or God forsook us. Which, I mean, obviously, either way, whatever religion whatever God Jesus combination you believe in, it weren't about this shit.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like when I think about the grip prosperity gospel has on this country, and I just feel like, how could you read the Bible and get that interpretation from it? Like,
Motherfucker, they ain't read that shit.
I found that because these anti-maskers are like, oh my Jesus was like, Leviticus literally tells you to wear a mask.
Right.
I mean, it also tells you to go in a hut when you menstruate, but they didn't have pads back then or tampons. But like they say, if you are sick, cover your fucking face. But they listen to Leviticus when they don't want gay marriage, but Leviticus on masks,
Right.
also just
Right. Whatever it is, you're not following the Bible. Even if you're following God, right? Our unhinged, wrathful God, right? As per the Bible.
well, not New Testament God.
Old Testament God.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what I mean. There's a
I
certain
mean,
type of
the New Testament God did was like, he's like, well, you guys still suck, so I'm going to murder my child.
right.
So like you guys are off the hook, but you have to feel guilty about it forever because like if you do bad things, it's like spitting on the wounds of Christ. So
Yeah. And that was it. And then it begat celestial apathy. As per God, we are now currently forsaken or whatever. He's not paying us anymore. He did the thing. He sent their God down. He sent his son down to tell us it was pronounced Jod. We murdered him as a result, and that's it. He sent his boy Jesus down to be like, nah, nigga, it's Jod, and then we killed him on the spot. And then he was like, all right, y'all, fuck y'all then. And then this is where we're at now. We've got a planet full of disgusting people and 14 COVID variants. That's it.
yeah.
Yes.
At least we now know exactly who in our circles we could not trust in the zombie apocalypse.
Man,
Every family member you have that refuses to get a vaccine would 100% hide a zombie bite.
hell yeah. Good fucking God. Jesus Christ. All those zombie movies, all those games about the apocalypse, we were thinking they were overboard. You realize the Division is overwritten, for example? You ain't even got to put smallpox on the money during Black Friday. It doesn't need to be an elaborate plan. Just give one person smallpox, tell them they can't go outside. That person will go outside and to several weddings.
Yeah,
No.
like I usually go to Exotica every year. Didn't go last year because it was canceled. They are doing it this year, and then I looked at how they're managing COVID. It's like, well, you can show us that you're vaccinated, proof of vaccination, and proof of negative test, and we'll give you like a little wristband, but it's not required. Um, Also, masks, since New Jersey isn't on mandatory mask requirements, those are also optional. So it's basically like a COVID honor system. I'm not going to sit around 10,000 other people who have to, from the goodness of their heart, make sure I don't get COVID. Because I now know the true nature of humanity. So I'm not fucking going. And I feel immense guilt because it's one of our biggest outreach things that New Jersey Red Umbrella Alliance does. But I also feel like telling vulnerable sex workers, many who can be immunocompromised, to come see us at this booth at this fucking super spreader event. I don't feel like I'd be a good person if I did that. I feel like this whole, well, we have to get back to normal. Um, it's not a let's get back to normal. People are saying sacrifice yourself for fucking capital. No, let's just not. We could all just not do that. What are they going to do? If
Uh,
they fire us all, they actually would have to fix some shit because they'd have to hire new people. If we all collectively say no more labor, we could all actually stay home long enough so we stop being in a pandemic. People in 1918 were better than us at this. Like,
we've managed to farm to nurture a generation of bootlickers that
God, yes.
the just the possibility the looming possibility of power and money means that people will support the oppressive forces just for the possibility of them possibly having a teaspoon of oppressive power themselves. Just like a kid they can slap around, a restaurant they can mistreat their workers, anything. Just any possibility that they one day might be able to wear the boot for a minute.
Ugh.
Whole lifetime of bootlicking.
Yeah. It's mm. I've seen way too many uh quote unquote black revolutionaries just turn into Kevin Samuel fans because it's enticing to have power over somebody, and instead of fighting for black liberation, now you're just, oh, like I could be a patriarch, so I don't actually need liberation because I should have power just given to me because I was born a cis male, and they just are cool with that. And that exactly just, I could have an eye droplet of power,
Right.
and they just deep throat it.
Yes. Biggest obstacle to any progress are the bootlickers, fence sitters, the possibility that they might have something to wield, a cudgel of their own.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yes, there you go. That's where we're at. We have things to talk about. Hold on,
Mhm.
let's try something positive before we get into these stories. Positivity.
Um,
Positivity. Posit. We have news, everyone. We have news stories. Jayla, what is the stories, the things that we are talking about today? We today.
well, OnlyFans did reverse their decision to ban explicit content. Um, but it's really up to MasterCard. So I really was trying to make that a positive, but
I mean, they kind of got caught out there. They got caught out there showing their hand a little too soon, devalued their own company before they could sell it for maximum value. And yeah, they kind of fucked things up there.
Yeah.
And
We
now they
did
got to
get
roll it back.
to,
So now they're trying to spin it in one of these weird ways. It's like everybody sees through you guys. That you can't explain it away. You didn't try. There was no galaxy brain scheme here. You were ready to flip OnlyFans for extreme profits.
yeah.
That's it. That's all
And
you
I
were
mean,
doing.
at least this power play that they did get people to see that there is something inherently wrong with Visa and MasterCard, um, to non-government entities being able to decide what content you consume. So that is a positive that people are now having that discussion. Um, the negative would be that we have to have that discussion because these mega corporations have the power to tell us what content we can consume.
Yes,
So, yeah.
that's a positive, but it's more accidental. That was not. This was not OnlyFans. This is Galaxy Brain scheme.
Yeah.
So that was not. This was not the case. They got very lucky, and yeah, they were trying to sell sex workers. They were trying to screw sex workers and sell their company for, I assume, billions, a billion, several billion, something of value. Trying to do a Tumblr thing and sell it, and then whatever happens. Yes.
I also learned to never read the comments on a Washington Post article.
No, you should not.
Yeah, because I was there like, oh, I got quoted. I should share this with people. And then I started reading the comments, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to share this with anyone. Everybody's awful. I do notice that uh, random people like account member Chief Beef will think they have the whole thing solved. They're like, hey, have sex workers thought about having a co-op? Um, and I'm like, why didn't we think of that? Except that the way trafficking laws are set up in our country, um, when we try to work together, we are then prosecuted as traffickers of ourselves. Um, so we will then go to jail. Um, but thanks for the suggestion, Chief Beef. We hadn't thought of it. Then who is this other guy? Uh, Clever Cow 50 decided, well, crypto. Like, why don't these stupid whores just use cryptocurrency? I mean, it's not like we are being shut out of the banking system. So our little digital coins that are super volatile can sit in our e-wallets, lose value, and then we'd have no way of actually turning that into the currency we could pay our rent with and buy food with. But cryptocurrency clearly is what's going to save us. If only these dumb cocksucking whores could understand blockchain, we would break our chains of oppression. Oh, how did we not listen to Clever Cow 50? Just solving our problems, like the galaxy brained commenters on Washington Post. Just thank you for solving these problems. We never thought about it. Cryptocurrency? Wow. Novel. It's like it's not like the payment processors that we'd be setting up to use cryptocurrency wouldn't price gouge like payment processors of the past did to the adult industry. It's not like the government can't just fucking seize it. It's not like blockchain literally is a map of the exchange of all these coins, which if there's going from sex worker to sex worker to client is just telling, hey, here's a receipt of all the crimes I did. Oh, but it's the crypto. It's just so airtight, and we just should have thought of it, but we couldn't with our dumb, cum-filled brains because we are just so silly. But thank you, commenter, who had read a 3-minute article on the Washington Post and just solved this issue for us. Like, why didn't we think about it?
when you so when you see these things and you read these articles, and your brain immediately goes to, well, why don't they just? It's probably been sorted out. I think what folks don't get is how much the U.S. government has acted against sex workers on every level. And when the U.S. government doesn't want you to do a thing, it's really hard to then do a thing, especially when the U.S. government keeps changing, it's some of the most dynamic harassment I've ever seen. Like it's a full thorough harassment of a labor force in the United States. Like you can't go anywhere, and anytime you guys go anywhere, you get followed by the U.S. government, who's just yelling incoherent stuff about trafficking and safety, while they deny you access to safety, payment processors, your own ability to create your own websites, run your own businesses, act as independent contractors. Then you will have to rely on OnlyFans, and then those scumbags want to flip it for $2 billion and leave you guys back out on the street.
Yeah, because they don't fucking care.
They don't fucking care. But you guys can't function. That's what they say. I've read the comment. Sex workers need to create their own platform. How? There were several. That was Foster Sesta undercut completely and destroyed. Your own platforms.
Yeah.
So please,
But now the same people that are targeting OnlyFans, now they want to come after Twitter because they realize that the big problem is they can't speak over and for sex workers if there's a place where sex workers could loudly speak for ourselves, which Twitter is pretty much the last place we have. Because Facebook, you can't even use a goddamn peach emoji without having your account shut down. So Twitter is kind of our last hurrah. Like if we lose Twitter, we kind of lose our movement. And I don't think enough people are screaming about that. But again, I'm a quote unquote alarmist. So yeah. I feel like I just stare off into existential dread like at least 4 times a day now.
Well,
It used to be like once a week.
Well, like I said, once we got to the point where safety, just common imagine if just like just gloves and rails were politicized. So like if I was going to say move 500 pounds of garbage and I put on work gloves and someone was calling me a pussy and real men touch foreign contaminants with their bare skin and like all safety was politicized and then became a talking point. Imagine, like, you can't do anything. Imagine if that you pulled out an umbrella on a rainy day and then like some trucker spat at the floor next to you because real Americans get their whole body drenched by rain because who the fuck uses an umbrella? That's for pussy, cuck liberal, beta males. Yes, we are in a very terrible point. There's a lot of fighting, but there's also a lot of fighting in the other direction for stupid shit. We are fighting over basic safety in America right now. Just basic. We are fist fighting over basic safety. And for the most part, we've left not only each individual state to their own devices, but each individual business, every building, to their own devices.
Yep. And even the buildings, the expo center where Exotica happens, I was like, surely the expo center will have a mask mandate saying you can't be in our building unless you wear a mask. Nope. They have a big disclaimer saying, hey, mask mandates are going to be decided by the person putting on the exhibition.
Everyone
Great.
washing their hands of it all the way down the line.
Yep.
To the point where you must understand that even though everyone is washing their hands of it, it's still just masks during a pandemic. That's it. Just because it's because they, for some reason, have left this decision up to each individual citizen now. It's just a mask during a pandemic.
Well, it's not, we don't really have a choice because it's kind of like, well, we're not going to support you if you don't want to go to work because you have the opportunity to work, so you're choosing not to work. But like if you get COVID and die because you went to work, then it's like, hey, we're in a pandemic. You chose to go. Like,
Yes.
Why'd you go to work?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
We're trying to tank COVID, and it's just getting worse. And that's really fucking stupid. I don't know why we're trying to tank COVID.
Yeah. It's
But yes,
almost
but yes, that's what we're doing.
this shit.
Right, we're questioning. We have it's when we are not questioning safety. It is
Remember
unnerving.
when that guy from the CDC in like January of 2020 was like, yeah, we're gonna be dealing with this until 2025, and everybody was like, boo, hiss, and he like fucking left the CDC.
Yes.
Maybe we should listen to that guy.
No, we don't listen to anyone warning us about anything, and I don't even. We don't want to hear it, and I get why. I think part of the capital, like one of the prime features of this capitalist hellscape is fatigue. We are tired, and there's a certain chunk of us that are now facing and just the void. Like we're just gonna work and work and work and work until we die, and I think that has fucked a lot of us up. There is no future to dream of or work towards, so we are living precisely in the here and now, which is required for the hellscape. You can't keep going to work and living check to check without only thinking 2 weeks ahead, or not thinking far enough back to when there was a time that this wasn't the case. It's the only way you can condition yourself to survive here, and as a result, any projections in all history have no value. So it makes sense why people are like this, but I don't know how you make us better. Like the only way you'd make us better is by actually providing us with a future, because that's one of the reasons why that's why the left became the right. The young activists got money, got things, and then slammed the door behind themselves because they were told they were going to lose it. They were fighting to get it, and then they were told they were going to lose it because they had a future to defend. We don't have that. So we just argue all types of shit, like wearing masks.
I feel like we're in this place because like it's just a world filled where it's like the Batman or Joker principle. Like you could have one really bad day and you could either decide to be the Joker or you then become Batman. Both of those are horrible choices.
Yes.
But I feel like that is what our world has turned into.
Yes.
Because to put it in internet terms, you're either a overzealous Tumblr user or you are a callous try hard B poster who sits around on 8chan defending the fact that the site is hosting child pornography. Because freedom. And I feel like none of these factions are in a place to make anything better for anyone.
we've now gotten into the place where we're arguing over every step, which kind of creates like I said, this, oh bless you, where we have this fence sitting that serves nothing but the status quo and makes everything worse through stagnancy, which is why, every person's COVID response is kind of limited pretty much to each individual person. And here we are.
Yeah.
Positivity, guys. We've been working on it in the background, and we are still currently working on it right now. We're doing the thing. We are working on. We are working. We have people, staff, highly paid, Unreasonable Friday staff who are working on positivity right now. Several people, all making living wages, all trying to dredge up positivity before the end of this program. So just you wait.
Full health benefits.
They
have dental.
Even dental,
Teeth
yes.
aren't luxury bones.
I got it. Nickel and diamond as the bones. They need the most attention as those bones are sticking out.
Nope, luxury bones.
They need more attention.
You really need to take care of those things.
Those bones more than any other bones because they're right there.
Nope. Optional bones.
That said, it's still a work in progress. Everyone sit tight. What else is there in jail?
Let's lighten it up. We can talk about celebrities. Let's see what wacky celebrities are doing. Fuck. Not touching Kanye. Don't have the time for that. So let's just forget.
I need to listen
that
to
whole
his
thing
album.
doesn't exist.
I haven't listened to his album anyway, so we got.
I refuse. It has some rapists on it. No thanks.
Well, there you
Boo to that.
Well, there you go. That's our take.
Hey,
that's our take.
Remember
on Kanye's album.
Pink?
I remember Pink, that short-haired white lady.
Yes.
With a nice jaw. Yes, nice jawline. Yes.
Showed her friends her vagina to prove that black girls and white girls have the same inside bits. Don't know why that conversation had to go that far, but she told a lot of people about it.
Wait, what?
Oh, you never heard that story about Pink?
No.
Yeah. She was in a pop group, did a lot of R&B kind of things, even though that wasn't her real deal. So she was around a lot of other R&B singers. So it was her and, a gaggle of white ladies, a gaggle of black ladies. And for some reason, they were talking about their pussies, as you do. And Pink was like, all pussies are the same color. And they were like, we don't think so. And she's like, I'm gonna prove it. And she's just like, spread. So the story goes, maybe she's denying that story now, but whatever.
Oh, well.
I'm a repository of useless information about celebrities, which I only have because I loathe them as a class.
Listen, I mean, yes. Was that the celebrity news you had?
No, it wasn't. But Pink, who is a mom, I guess is looking at what her kids are watching on the TikTok and the YouTubes, and called out the parents of a particular content creator, Raquel. Let me see if I can find her full name, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Raquels up in there. I guess that's what she goes by, Raquel. But Raquel has an Instagram page with 4.8 million followers that is managed, quote unquote, by her family. And Pink saw that there was a flirty bikini pic on that page and was like, hey, how many kids like Piper, Raquel are being exploited by their parents? And the internet went, kaplar, rawr, don't have an opinion, rah, is what the internet did, as I just want to do. And now people are having the discussion of, are these Insta celebs who are underage? Raquel is 14 years old. Uh, is this exploitation?
Oh.
I thought it was very interesting. Um, oh, I think her name is Piper and her last name is Raquel. I thought her name was Raquel. Whoops.
All right.
My bad. I do not follow 14-year-olds on the internet because
Right.
that
We don't.
shit's
We're not.
fucking weird.
It's fucking weird. We're not going into we're not going into the spellings and specifics, just names, but please.
Yeah. So the mother of this tiny influencer says the pictures are only sexual if you view them that way. And her mother says, I would do anything for my daughter. And I kind of feel like, um, uh, yeah, you're exploiting your kid.
100%.
Um, and Courtney Stodden, who they uh, were married to a 52-year-old actor when they were 16, and then the internet decided that they were the slut, and the problem said, yeah, this is exploitation, and it's our responsibility as a society to protect children because it's really easy to fall victim to the cycle of digital grooming. And as adults, we could see it and they can't. And I kind of feel like, why are all these news organizations getting the opinion of a 14-year-old girl on whether or not she's being exploited or not? Because she literally does not know.
Yes, that's the point of that's that's the point of the laws and why the sentiment of protecting children is because they don't know.
Yeah. Like, this person 3 years ago was playing with dolls. Maybe don't tell them that you get to decide whether adults are exploiting them. I feel that's so unfair, and it's what our society routinely does to children, especially femme ones.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Yeah, so now people are yelling at Pink, who, I get it, kind of annoying, but not for this.
agreed.
When
That
she was yelling about hurting animals because you dye them pink, even though she dyed a horse in one of her music videos, but whatever. Why do I know so much random information about Pink? But uh, I kind of feel like we let these kids become ultra famous at such a young age. Um, their parents are quote unquote managing them. But no kid should be the breadwinner for their family. That's it. It. I mean, in Hollywood or acting, there's strict child employment laws of like when they can work, how much money their parents are allowed to spend, and how much has to be saved for them. For these social media stars, it's like the wild, wild west.
right.
So you can have your tween shaking her ass in a bikini and it's supposed to be fine, but it really shouldn't.
It's
And
not.
it deeply disturbs me that, like, we just go, okay,
Well,
like,
the question it does beg the question for what. You know what I mean? Like, why for shaking her ass in her bikini for whom and for what?
I guess the argument is, well, they're making content for other tweens and teens to.
Again, that's not. Mm-mm. Like that's
My whole thing is, if your 14-year-old has 100 million followers on TikTok,
yep,
those aren't all kids.
yep. That
They're
is,
just not.
that's exactly it. And these are not. If your 14-year-old wants to shake her butt for another 14-year-old, that is growth and life, whatever. That's a whole other set of discussions. But how many follows? 4 million or some shit?
This
One.
article says on Instagram that she has 4.8 million followers.
Right, yeah, those are not all, yeah, they're not all kids, which means you need to be extra cautious with how you put your kid out. It's fine if you want to scoop up that money because that's money in this capitalist hellscape. I get it. But that means you need to be extra cautious with how you frame that kid because you now have a following of adults. Your following has a healthy portion of adults in that 4 point whatever million people. And you should know that. And the mom knows that. She's being an asshole about it.
Yeah. Literally, the first thing I see when I click on her Instagram is a butt shot.
Ugh. Yeah, her mom knows what's going on. That's fucking gross.
Like, this child is wearing tank tops and posing in heels.
Ugh.
Like,
Yeah, that's super intentional, bro. I'm sorry.
I'm very let people be free, and I believe if you want to be a sexual being to do that.
Right.
But there's a big difference between letting that child develop that in their own time and space and then suggestively posing them and posting it on the internet for the consumption of others.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, there
this,
is no
I
yes.
do feel some type. This makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, it's gross. It's 100%. You've removed all agency from your kid. There's no way we should not. You should not be doing that at all. Really, actually, for any reason, for any audience of any size. Your child choosing to do that for whomever is another, like I said, another discussion.
She has
But
2.8 million fans on TikTok.
yeah,
Her content has been liked 59.4 million times.
yeah, yeah. That is yeah, that is deeply problematic and unacceptable.
Yeah.
And also, no one can see the nostril flare. I'm actually deeply bothered. It's not great at all.
Yeah, like I literally like look just to get the stats right, and I'm like, I don't like this. Like, even if you put her name into Google, the first shots you get, like the second one is her going ooh with her butt out.
Yeah.
Why do I want to see 14-year-old cheeks? Get that shit away from me.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking weird. And it's not even like in a I don't want to sexualize her way. It's just like I literally don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like, why does this exist?
Right. It's not a thing we need. It's simply not a thing that we need. It has no place. And those who would argue it has a place are extra deeply problematic. You shouldn't argue that there's a place for the sexualization of 14-year-old on the internet for the consumption
Like,
of 5 million people.
age gate things like Instagram and YouTube where only other children see it.
Right.
So the argument that, well, it's her and she's doing it for her fans who are in her age range.
I mean,
Even if you could gatekeep it, like
I don't. You shouldn't.
her,
You're still making. You're still making content to get the sexual attention of other minors, which is also strange.
yeah, like I don't feel good about that. I was kind of thinking about it the other day because I was talking to a friend about shows like Skins and Euphoria, where I'm like, who is this for? Like, as much as Euphoria is a well acted, well scripted show, um, they still depict minors very sexually and graphically. And I'm like, it's an MA show, so like minors aren't supposed to be watching it. So then who the fuck is this for? Why do I have to see um an actor portraying a teen's like boobies?
Right.
I don't want to see teen boobies. That's like why? Why does this need to be a thing? And I kind of feel like, oh, if people who say, well, it's realism and it's real, it's like, yeah, you talking about sex when you are a teenager with other teenagers is real. But once you fictionalize it and then hire actors to portray it, you are just making uh like dubious child sex content.
Yes. And
Like,
the executive decision to do it is strange. Like it's just like not something that, even if I'm telling the story of kids, where I need to, even if I'm going down the route of them, growing their sexuality, it's not something that we need to see.
why does it have to be explicitly depicted?
Yeah, it's not a necessity for us
Yeah.
to see it.
And in the case of Skins and Euphoria, you have depictions of adults having sex with minors, even though the actors are of age. Though with Skins, I think they were actual teenagers. But why are you depicting that graphically? Like, you could there's so much ways to use film or cinematic language to imply what you need to imply without making it so you have to have an adult skin to skin contact with somebody depicting a child, um or have, I mean, there's so many examples where people have made fiction stories that they use children and then they had a child actor kiss or interact sexually with an adult. Like, why did we let that happen and think that was okay? Like, you can't, like, how many groomers were like, oh, we're just playing pretend and got away with doing horrible things to children like that. So if you make a production out of it, that's suddenly not terrible. It just, it makes me feel deeply uncomfortable. And it's kind of how I felt about the movie Cuties, which, while I don't think it got a fair share, I do believe that there was a conversation to be had with, okay, you want to show how explicit depictions of children are harmful, so you made a movie with explicit depictions of children. Like, perhaps a different route would have been more effective.
Possibly. Maybe.
No. Do I think the response to that movie was slightly racially motivated? Because we have praised many a film uh, made by white males where they let, and white women, where a little girl kisses an adult man. Sure. Uh, it is weird that dancing children that were not touched by adults was seen as like just child pornography, but uh, it is a film classic when you have a 10-year-old Brooke Shields kissing an adult man, or you have the original Lolita where you have a teenager uh, kissing an adult man. Like, I I side eye people who, without sight unseen, decided that the director of Cuties was some type of pedophile. Um, Honestly, my my biggest issue with Cuties wasn't even how it displayed the children, because really it was like maybe one scene where I'm like, I don't like this. It was the both sides ism of, well, Western culture is too sexualized, but Muslim culture is too like I hate when they movies do that or when media decides to pit that where it's like bikinis versus burqas like it seems reductive to me,
Yes.
but no nobody watched the fucking movie, so nobody really was having that conversation. It was just like twerking 11-year-olds, and my Jamaican ass was like, yeah, that's, yes. There was a family party, but it's a big difference between saying, oh, I don't care about what other people might think is suggestive dancing in the context of we're doing it in our basement versus filming it and then putting it in a movie for the consumption of others. Like there's a conversation to be had about the differences there.
Yes.
But
There's context and nuance which we've lost, and in the loss
oh
of
yeah, you're
context
not
and
allowed
nuance,
to have nuance anymore. You have to condemn, cry,
well,
rend your clothes and gnash your teeth.
the nuance is the racism. So what so what happens is where there would be the nuance, there's no nuance, but we manage to basically change our values based on the race of the subject in question. So we definitely have more leeway for I guess white kids sexuality, and much less for black kids, for example. We just don't have it. We can't. Non-white kids, we are ready to argue that they shouldn't be allowed to do a thing, as we are ready to argue that any brown person should not be allowed to do a thing. All of a sudden, all these rules and values come flying in out of left field because of it.
Yeah.
We make sure we will rise up as a country to tell black and brown people they shouldn't do things. That's the nuance. It's just the racism, sexism. This is, yes, brown non men should not be allowed to do anything at all, anything. And then we just throw in, their family values, safety, religious nonsense. We're concerned about trafficking and stuff.
We talk about these I'm just going to call them exploited teens on TikTok because it's pretty much what they are. They're being exploited by their family to make this content because it's bringing the family money. But they can do that uh, because they're pretty white girls. But when, black teens engage in similar behavior, they get CPS called on their parents
Yes.
and they get kicked off their cheer teams and they get punished for it.
Yes.
So I feel like society knows that there's something uncomfortable with it, but seems they only recognize it when racialized bodies are doing it.
Yeah. We have a morality. Yes, it's kind of allowed racism to remain flexible in our changing time, a fast-paced global economy. You can be racist in the name of safety in a way you could not be racist just because you were tired of the nigger situation 20, 30 years ago. So now you can be like, well, no one cares about these black girls, right? Well, I do.
Yeah. So much so that I need them separated from their parents.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
And yes, this is an actual thing that happened. There was a black girl and a white girl on the same cheerleading squad that did a TikTok dance together. And they decided that because the black girl was quote unquote more developed than the white girl, that the black girl deserved to be kicked off the cheer squad, reprimanded, and they did call CPS to investigate her mother. Which thankfully the mother did not lose her child because her child wanted to do a dance. But the fact that that could have happened is terrifying.
Yep.
Meanwhile, little Miss Raquel, forgot her name, Pepper?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
One of those. She is taking sexy shots in 6-inch heels and managed by family. Nobody.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's fine. It sounds fine. It's fine. I think you're overreacting because it's so fine. It's very fine. Extremely fine, even. Perfect, actually. There you go. Did we manage to did we manage to find that positivity we were looking for?
Oh no. Not even a little bit.
Oh no.
Yeah, mission aborted, which is the only thing you can get aborted in Texas.
Hey.
Sad face. Single tear.
All right. Well, is that it then? Is that the program? We're back. Back, yay! And a seasonal model so that we can give people time to breathe and process the hellscape. But we're still back.
Yeah, we're gonna do this when we can, because we have not known peace for more than 2 days in the last 2 years, so it's been a lot for all of us, like the planet. So
If you
give us some
liberal
fucking grace.
if you liberal beta cucks would stop trying to police the rest of the country and let us breathe on each other and kill each other, then we could move forward with our lives. But since you're so hung up on your fascist beliefs and government overreach that we have to fight over masks and whether we send children to spread an airborne blood disease to each other and their families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're not going to give people universal health care to deal with that long COVID.
No, we're gonna charge them, and no one's gonna be able to pay because no one's gonna be able to work. It's gonna be fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, but at least we'll I got nothing. So on that super chipper high note, I guess I'll see you next Tuesday, and I'm going to be deeply sad somewhere else. Bye.